Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's RBG and today we are back with the VW Beetle Championship. We're into round 7 of 10 rounds of the Beetle series. We've taken part from round 3, so we missed the first 2 rounds before we joined the team, the Amigos racing team. We've been racing in the Gr.3 Beetle series since, down in tier 2. And running pretty well so far. I'm really enjoying the season as it is so far. Today we're going to be racing at Red Bull Ring. I have to admit, not one of my favourite tracks, but let's have a little look at the standings so far of the season. So we can see there the standings. Myself, I'm sitting in 8th place overall across all the tiers, but in terms of tier 2, sitting in 3rd place. Really pleased like that. Actually, Lays, it says he's in tier 1, but I believe he should be in tier 2 unless he's been moved up. He was in this race anyway, so I'm competing against Lays in 11th place there. I've got 109 points, he's got 94. He's my closest rival in terms of the people who are on in tier 2. You obviously got Legion and Roadrunner down up in 1st and 2nd, but they are quite ahead of me in pace, and obviously I'm not really racing so much against them. So yeah, it should be an interesting race. We've also got Ryan on the grid as well, who is pretty well paced as well. He's only joined us from last week, so that's why we're not really competing with him in terms of standings, but we might be competing with him in terms of the race. So see how we get on. Qualification, I managed to come in 4th place, really pleased with that, get in front of Lays and both Ryan as well. Got a new one person on grid, Will in 3rd position, and then we've got Legion Dan as usual, sitting in the top 2 spots. But let's see if we can do something here to at least hold on to 4th and get in front. Or the main objective really is to get in front of Lays 1 star if we're looking at the series. But you know, try and just put in the best race we can. As we're away now, and I'm in the Whiskers, purple Whiskers Beetle, as you can see there. Moved away from the KFC, lost my sponsorship, and off we go. Did look like I had someone up on behind me going through turn 1, and they kind of backed out, which made them sort of lose a little bit of grip and fall out. Pretty sure there wasn't any contact there anyway. And we're going through turn 2 now. Front pack have already edged away a little bit. Got Lays not far behind, definitely in range. I've got to be aware of him, as he's, you know, again, just like ever, we're pretty well paced when we look at our lap times and stuff like that. I think something that maybe what is giving me the edge over Lays 1 star these past few races is maybe the consistency. I seem to maybe get that consistency a little bit more than him. But at the same time, because he's had a few bumps and scrapes as well. So me and him were talking the other day, really hoping that we get into a good fight. Let's see if that happens today. Run a little wide there, but not sure if I'm going to pick up a penalty. There's an extra added incentive put in by the team today with Red Bull. The track limits are pretty strict, so penalties are abound. So there's a bonus for each race that you get an extra 5 points if you get through a race with no penalty whatsoever. So that's something everyone else is trying to do as well, probably a little bit more than what they normally would. We're actually the short version of Red Bull the other day for the Mansters, so we're pretty already quite versed in parts of the track, and didn't take long to attune. Slightly faster car, the Gr.3 Beetle. Really am enjoying racing it. Again, like I said last week, I don't know if I'd race it as a sort of permanent car. Lay's still sitting up only 1/10 behind me. He's going to look up on the inside here. Is he going to get the move done? He's got that inside line. It looks like I'm going around the outside. He's got the inside, but I still managed to hold it. And Lays didn't get a great exit there. I don't know if he come off to avoid a bit of contact, but yeah, affording each other a lot of room there. So nice from Lays. He's actually afforded Ryan to get up in front of him, so I've now got Ryan behind me. So like I said, these two, Ryan and Lays, are the two people that I knew I'd be racing against in this race, as I said at the start, and kind of thought I would be in the middle of the race and looking at the times and where everything was. So still holding 4th position, haven't managed to lose it yet. That front 3 are really starting to pull away now. You can see Will's got that 2.5 second gap on us. So we're coming sort of towards the last 2 turns of lap 2. Ryan only a couple attempts behind again in that range where he could hurt. Got a choice whether I chose to stay on the ideal line, not go on defensive. Actually run wide there, that's going to pick me up my penalty, and I've already lost that 5 points advantage. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's my penalty, a 1 second penalty. So unfortunately I'm not going to be getting my 5 point bonus for the first race. but try not to worry about it and try and focus on the racing ahead of us as we come through now. Got to get a good turn here in turn 1. Like I kind of said when we were doing the short in Mazda the other day, turn 1 is where a lot of races are made or broke. Picked myself another penalty up there, so must have either cut the apex or went a little wide on the exit. Just run myself a purple section there, not too bad. Obviously, we're getting the penalty kind of negates that purple sector anyway, but I'll take it nonetheless. And you can now see we're actually managed to do a bit of good here. A few good turns there. We've managed to develop that gap upwards from Ryan, now pushing sort of 1.25 seconds, and seems like it's increasing. So it looks like we've kind of escaped those initial few laps where, you know, we had Lays having a close attempt at an overtake, and we managed to defend that okay. And then we've had Ryan push up on us pretty close. Didn't manage to get an attack move in, but obviously we managed to refine our pace and just afford us that little bit of a bumper gap. And let's see if we can either push up to this pack at the top, which I think is going to be a challenge, quite honestly, at the pace that they're setting, or just try and grow this lead from Ryan and make 4th place mine, really. So this is going to be a 14 lap race. I've worked out either 13 or 14 depending on what pace you're at. So I decided I was going to pit on lap 7. So we're currently on softs. I think your tank of fuel would last you about 9 or 10 laps. So definitely need to pit at some point. And your tyres wouldn't last as well. I didn't fancy trying the mediums on no stop. So I went for a soft run. So 2 sets of soft tyres. Legion and Dan have just come in. I just found myself coming in now. Just coming through. You might have noticed that I was up in 3rd place, and I think that was due to the fact that Will had gone in early. And let's see where we come out. You can see Will now's climbing back up into that 3rd spot. And I'm going to be coming out looking like sort of 4th. Well, come out 4th, so actually that's not too bad in terms of pit. Looks like I've come out in front of Will, which is actually great. I don't know what happened there with Will. I don't know if he just spent too long in pits, took on far too much fuel, or had an incident, but he had a bit of a gap in front of me before all this, and before we come to the pits and stuff, and I've come out this other side of the pits with a 1 second gap. So very aware of Will's pace. Beat me in quali, seemed to be keeping up with Legion and Dan. We've got Ryan still up in front of us, but he's yet to pit, I believe, so as long as we can keep within a hair's width of him, should be able to push up to maybe the 3rd place, and it's all now really a fight between myself and Will. Lays is a few seconds behind the little pack we've got here, a little partnership between myself and Will. So looking good in terms of the series if I can hold it together. So we just come over, you know, just past the halfway point in this race now. Fresh set of tyres, plenty of fuel, so I went over a 7 laps of fuel just to make sure. I didn't want to risk it like I did the other week at Tokyo, where I kind of run out of fuel about 100 metres before the finish line. Still didn't hurt me in terms of positions, but almost got pinched from Lays. As Ryan's now gone into pit, and we should be coming out in front there, so that should see us up now in 3rd position. But like I said, we've still got Will up behind us here. Got to make sure that we hold this gap, which we've kind of held pretty well, this 1 second gap that we've had on him. Just got to see if we hit that consistency. In terms of lap times, been a bit sporadic, you know, sort of you can see there 130s, 129s, 128s. So no real tight or great laps I've put in at the moment, to be honest with you. Pretty sure I can get into the 127s, and that's what the pace we set in the qualies. I haven't even just hit that pace yet in this race specifically, but in terms of what's been going on and folding in position, we're doing alright. Still holding that 1 second gap on Will as we're just in lap 9 now. I said 14 laps overall. It could be 13 if you're a little bit off the pace, with it being a 20-minute endurance race. So we'll skip forward now actually into lap 14. And you can see, unfortunately, Will dropped out from the race. Unfortunately, I think he disconnected on sort of like, the 13th lap or something. But we did manage to build up that gap, and he actually fell back towards where Laser One Star, as he fortunately did lose it. A guaranteed third here, because you can see everyone else did 13 laps because they crossed the line at 20 minutes. And I've got myself, Dan and Legion have got to do an extra lap, so really, even if I span round and round in circles here, I'd still secure third place. The only thing that could change is obviously first and second, but that obviously relies on Dan and Legion falling off completely off the edge of the world, which they're not very likely to do, obviously. As we come down through the last few turns now, so good result, this third place. Really pleased. I was sort of eyeing up fourth when I was in the middle of the race, and sort of thought Will would have had it, regardless of the disconnect. Still pleased to get in front of him, and still pleased to maintain and even build upon that gap. So Dan and Legion just coming over the line now. Last man out on track, so just to make it official and make it confirmed, we'll go over the line and prepare ourselves for the next race, which, as we know, will be a reverse grid race, which can be obviously quite a challenge when you do pretty well in your first race. You're fighting for the back in general. I'm going to have Legion and Dan behind me, very fast pace, and they'll be wanting to work their way up. And in general, the people immediately in front of me as well are going to be, I'm going to be pretty matched for pace. So just like I was saying in the video the other day, you don't want to get caught. I don't want to be caught trying to fight Lays, Ryan, Will in the first 2 or 3 laps, because all I'll be doing is slowing us down as a pack and affording those people who were a little bit off the pace in the first race to build a gap and form their pack a bit further up to make it hard for the rest of us to build up. So really, these back runners are kind of not get too involved with each other. The general idea is, keep it quite tight, don't try to over defend if someone's up on you. Just sort of let them through and use each other's pace to try and move through the rest of the pack as much as you can, and then when you're up in those top places, that's when you start trying to fight and jostle for your position. As we get away, so right at the back here, see the purple Whiskers car coming on the inside. Had to dip on the inside of Mr. Navoli because I slightly outbroke him a little, and I was a bit worried I was going to hit him from behind, so I slightly planted myself into the wall just to make sure that we didn't have anything bad happen there. As we come through up to turn 2, again giving Mr. Navoli a little bump there. Got to be aware of his braking might be a little bit earlier than mine, and I thought I'd sit behind him and not go past him because I didn't want to take advantage of giving him the bump there. As we come down now to the next turn, taking a wider line. Lay's losing a little bit of grip himself there, unfortunately, and still not out this race. And actually, we completely messed up there, messed up the braking completely, and found ourselves off, really bad off there. One of those ones where when you're facing the wrong way, getting back on track, which actually is not too neat there. I think I did that with the pause. Try and readjust my fingers, but not great there. It's been a while actually. I'm quite pleased overall with my consistency. I remember the first couple of Beetle races I joined. The first couple of rounds, round 3 and 4, had bad spin outs on at least one of the races. It's been the first time in a while that I've had a sort of bad spin out that sent me a tail off at the back. I've got a 10-second gap between us and the pack. I've actually skipped forward. It actually took me 4 laps to be able to recover from that, as I'm now up behind a booked boy. So certainly not a great start of a race, and obviously a race where you've got to spend a lot of time trying to recover, and you can see how far spread out the pack is already. So sort of really limits our prospects. As we look up on the inside of booked boy here, he takes the wide line, I take the inside, but he manages to get that exit speed spot on, and I didn't quite get the same amount, and I've actually afforded a Lays, who also had a slip out, unfortunately for him, to come up from behind him with Elsie, who I believe has had an early pit. So that's why we're in front of those two. Not really overtakes per se. I can't believe I just used the term per se. I need to stop that. Regardless, we're up on Book to Boy now. Again, I don't think we're looking for an overtake here. Just sort of sit up behind him. And we actually do a little bit of drifting there, a little bit of Tokyo drifting. And actually, Book to Boy didn't get a great line through there, so just afforded me an easy pass. And we now find ourselves up in 10th with about 5 seconds behind us. And Mana up in front, which, you know, I know we've got, you know, 8 or 9 laps of this race left, so not unfeasible that we'll be able to pull that gap back. But I can't really see us pushing up to where we were in the first race. I think realistically anything in the top 8 is going to be a good race considering what happened on that first lap. But yeah, a little bit disappointed it happened, but you know, these things happen. I actually remember doing it. I don't know what was going on. I think a lot of traffic around me. I just completely missed my braking zone, which is you know, quite a rare occurrence. But I was fortunate enough that I wasn't sort of up behind anybody, or the only person it impacted was myself. Didn't smash anyone off, so that's the benefit as we come down now, turn 3, dropping down to second. Get on the power, but try and, you know, with the camber on the exit there, I always find that you've got to be careful coming out on second not to lose the car, as I did a few times and learned it in my practice. I actually did a bit of practice trying to gear through at 3, which actually made it a lot more stable, but sort of slipped me off the pace a little bit, so went back to using 2 to just get that little bit more power and heading out the corner. Let's come down now to these last 2 turns as we were doing in the Masters the other day. This is still part of the short ring. And got a couple of pit stops happening in front of us. It's our lap to pit. I actually wanted to go a bit short here because last lap I ended with, you know, just under 1 lap of fuel last time. So last time I went to about 7.2, maybe a bit more than that laps of fuel. So I'm going to go slightly lower this time and see if that just gives me that little bit more gain. So I just went to 7, so not that much less, but I think again I'm still very conscious of what happened at Tokyo, where I did run out of fuel. Making sure I'm not in that situation again. And we actually come out in front of Mana there again. Another pit situation where maybe just taking on a bit too much fuel or something. And that sees us again still sitting in 10th with how the pits are worked out, but we're now in front of Mana. So yeah, I'm not sure what he did there. Like I said, he must have took on more fuel than he needed, or might have had an off or something like that. But we find ourselves in front of him now in the 8th lap. I think we've still got pits to happen as well, so still might be able to develop something. We've got LZ, as we know, pitted much earlier than us, early in the race, now up in front of us, 4-second gap. We're just going to try and work down and see if we can catch up with him. Again, we've got about 5 laps to do it in, so not a huge amount left in this race, but certainly enough to maybe drill down that gap. As you can see, we've already got down to 4 seconds. Hopefully have the pace on LZ from what I've seen in the earlier race to grind that down, certainly with this car and track combination anyway, because I think it's the first time that I've raced against him. And looks like Ryan's just gone in. Don't think we're going to have enough to get past. Oh, actually we do. I don't think we're going to have enough to get past Ryan. I think we're going to see him come out of the pits before we come through. As we still sit up in 10th. And again, working that gap down between us and LZ nice and solidly to about 3 seconds now. And it really is a chance to see if we can make it count. He did have a really early pit as well, from what I remembered, so if he is going with the soft, I didn't catch whether he's on soft or mediums, but if he's on the soft, he's going to have really worn tyres at the end of this race. So a bit unsure about whether what tyre strategy he went with, but we are fully aware of the fact we probably have a superior tyre compound, or at least superior wear. So we actually skip forward now to lap 10. You can see we've grinded gap down even more, just over a second now away from Ilzy in front. Big gap between us, and actually he's gone into pit, which I wasn't expecting at all. Went in having to do a 2 pit. He was actually on the mediums at the time. I'm not sure. Maybe he felt like he was losing the tyres or something. 44%. Reading that as should be enough to see him through. So not sure why that pit happened. It'll be interesting. I didn't understand that, but not going to complain. Looking like I was again on him, hopefully hoping that I would have got past, even if he hadn't have done that. But regardless, the end result was the same. 9th place with 6-second gap on the guy in front. And we actually come around to lap 13. You can see actually Mr. Navoli might have had a bit of a slip out or something, because we find ourselves up now on Mr. Navoli, about a second out from him. We're sort of about 1/3 through the lap with about 30 seconds left, so it's definitely going to be a 13 lap race this time instead of a 14 lap race, so probably could have took on a lot less fuel if I'd known that, if I'd thought about that, but unfortunately I didn't. So that might have actually seen us in front of Mr. Navoli here, but looking like it's just a little bit too much for us to ask to push up. I think maybe a few more laps and we might have been able to push, but he did have pretty good pace on this race, and that was just hoping that he would have been a little bit off it and I was sort of on it. You can actually see in the race times actually broken to 1:28 there, which I'd never actually done before. Even through all my practice, I was really pleased to get in the 1:28. I know I'd obviously got a little less fuel in the tank, but still pleased with it. Finishing the race then in 9th place, so certainly not the best result I've ever posted in the Beetle series, but considering what happened again earlier in the race, not a bad result. And quite honestly, again, in terms of the overall series, my aim is to get in front of Lay's 1 star is my main aim in terms of the series, and again you can see just finishing 1 position in front of him, because he pretty much had a very similar slip out early in the race. So that is the confirmed results there. You can see 9th place. Again, like I feel like if I didn't have that slip, probably could have got myself a little bit further up there, sort of in somewhere between 4th and 6th. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you take the slip outs as they come. But that is it for today's video. We've had 2 races from round 7, so we've got 3 more rounds left, round 8, 9 and 10. Next week we'll be at Fuji, I think it's called. Yeah, we'll be at Fuji again with the Beetles, so look out for that as we come around to that next week. And obviously we'll have another one coming from the Mazdas as well, which I believe we're at or top list short in the Mazdas. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're ever interested in taking part in the ARC races, I definitely recommend you do so. Really great bunch of guys, and really good laugh, and nice clean racing as you see. Everyone tries to keep it nice and clean and friendly, and they cater to all sorts of skill levels and experiences. So if you're interested, you'll find the link to the Discord in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe as well. It's nice to get a subscriber every now and again, so if you enjoyed it, hit the sub button and you'll see these sorts of videos coming out sort of 1 or 2 a week. And that's it for me today, but I'll catch you guys really soon. Thanks for watching. I've been me, you've been you, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, cheers, bye.